Trump won, and not by a small margin either. And of course I blame him and the Republican Party and the lying media outlets that pushed him for corporate benefits constantly. Of course I blame them, and I hate them too. But it is undeniable that this is also the fault of the Democrat Party. They let this happen, and I'm here to talk about it. I hate the Democratic Party because they are useless, spineless, and incompetent. They conceded on everything except for two issues: democracy and abortion. They conceded on the border, they conceded on trans rights, they conceded on all populist messaging and decided to run on an institutionalist platform in a populist environment. And they paid for it, and we are going to pay for it too. The Democrats needed to run on changing the system because it's very obvious no one right now is happy with it. And I will say that at the start of Kamala's campaign, they came in with that energy. The slogan of "we are not going back," and constantly talking about progress and moving forward and making change. And for their VP pick, they chose a populist. They had momentum. But as soon as she got the Democratic nomination and the Democratic Party swooped in with their advisors, everything went downhill from there. Kamala needed to run on talking about how the average person is being screwed over by corporations. They needed to constantly be shouting from the rooftops that Donald Trump is working with the business interests to screw over everyday people. But the issue is, then that would go against their corporate interests, which they won't do.
I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, "That's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone." So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it.
Right-wing populism can exist while fulfilling the demands of the capitalist class. Left-wing populism can't. Right-wing populism is about attacking a demographic. Left-wing populism is about attacking the capital class, which of course makes it a threat to the capital class. And not only that, they needed to cut off Joe Biden. Even though it's not fair, the American people were blaming Joe Biden for inflation. And Kamala never showed anyone that she will be different from Joe Biden. When Kamala was asked what she's gonna do different than Joe Biden, her answer was nothing. Now, they didn't have to demean Joe Biden to cut off Kamala from him. They could have said things like, Joe Biden inherited an America with a stab wound, and he was there to stop the bleeding. America might have lost a lot of blood in the process, but he did his job of stopping the bleeding. Jobs are up and inflation is down. But now I, Kamala Harris, am here to move forward, to change the system, to improve America. All of that rhetoric could have been done without making Joe Biden look bad. But again, they can't do that because that would threaten the capital class. Republicans can do populist messaging while still benefiting their wealthy benefactors. Democrats cannot. Kamala should have been shouting with a megaphone that Donald Trump is a pedophile, that he's friends with Epstein. America hates pedophiles, and he is one. Why was that never used? Because then it would also implicate Bill Clinton. So instead of rightfully calling Trump a pedophile and friend of Epstein, they took Bill Clinton and ran his corpse up on stage to talk down to Arabs in Michigan.
I understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died. I get that. But if you lived, and so then the people who criticize it are essentially saying, yeah, but look how many people you've killed in Ritalin. So how many is enough for you to kill to punish them for the terrible things they did? You would say, well, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not keeping score that way. It isn't how many we've had to kill.
But I can't blame everything on Kamala's campaign. These issues have been rot festering in the Democratic Party for a long time. long before Kamala came around. Obama ran on a platform of hope and change.
To create more American jobs, here's what I want to do. I want to take away those tax breaks from companies that ship jobs overseas, give a tax credit for every job created by a company here in the United States of America.
But when he was in office, he changed nothing. He came in on the promise of legally protecting abortion rights. He had the numbers in Congress to do it. Yet when the issue came up, he said it wasn't at the top of his agenda. Obama should have appointed a Supreme Court justice, but they let the Republicans just say no and break the Constitution. And they sat there and did nothing. After Obama's term was a surge of populism. They had Hillary Clinton versus a populist and popular candidate of Bernie Sanders. But then the entire Democrat Party came together to push out Bernie Sanders and make Hillary win. An unpopular establishment candidate with an email crisis because they couldn't stand a populist. And then Hillary Clinton ran on an institutional platform with slogans like, "It's her turn." Now after Trump won, they ran an establishment candidate to stem the bleeding, to just take back the White House for one term, get everything back to normal, and then move forward from there. Okay, maybe I don't think that's the best decision, but I'll accept it. That's a reasonable choice. Run one term, you're a bajillion years old afterwards, step down and push forward the new and young blood. But then he didn't step down, leading to the mess of Biden having to pull out of the race way into it and be replaced by the only option left, Kamala Harris. I blame the Republicans for being evil, of course. I'm not just gonna excuse them being evil because the Democrats are incompetent. But you can't not blame the Democrats for what happened. It is not only the voters' fault, because it is the Democratic Party's job to get people to vote for them. They objectively have policies that help the average person more, and they still can't get them to vote for them. But saying that about the Democrat Party, I will say a few things about the voters. What the hell are men doing? I hate most men because most men voted for Donald Trump when Trump's policies and agenda will directly hurt them. And again, I blame the Democrat Party for being useless and incompetent because it is their job to convince people to vote for them. And this isn't even directed at people who decided to vote third party. I think that given the circumstances, that decision was pretty stupid. And maybe I would be more mad at them if Donald Trump won by a thinner margin. But they did not decide this election. I am talking about the apathetic people who didn't care to vote at all. You know what? I screw the people who didn't vote. You might say that Kamala sucks and the Democrats suck. I agree with you. I just told you they suck. But when you say that they're the same as the Republican Party, I have to stop you there because you're about to find out why they're not. And now, for the next 50 years or so, we are going to have a conservative majority in the Supreme Court. The Republicans are going to control all three branches of government, and you're about to see why that is so bad. Kamala didn't lose because Trump got more votes. He didn't. Kamala lost because she got less votes than Biden. And I blame that a lot on the Democrats and how they ran the campaign. But a lot of people just didn't vote. And a lot of those were Gen Z. And you're the people that are going to experience that for the longest time. The boomers, they gonna die soon. We don't. I also want to say I hate the capitalist class because they voted for a president and pushed a president that is so stupid with such dogshit policies that even they are going to suffer. They are going to have less money and they know that. But they're so selfish and greedy that they would rather hurt themselves if they know it's going to hurt everyone more than it's going to hurt them. Because proportionately, that gives them more power. They will screw themselves over to screw you over more. Then I also want to say, it's not over. Well, the election is over. It happened. It's not lies. The results are real. But that doesn't mean that's the end. And that doesn't mean we should stop fighting. And that doesn't mean that you should give up. And don't end yourself. That's what they want. So, stay safe out there. All right. So yeah, I will be uploading a video that is unrelated to the election soon about climate change. So be looking out for that. And also a video about how people lie with data. That will be coming up. I will be moving forward, giving the current information. But again, I want everyone to stay safe.